Hey everyone, Human Shield 1991 back again with another video. This go around, we're having another episode of our Pokemon Showdown Generation 1 Random Battle series. As those who may not know, this is a pretty fun series where we take Pokemon Showdown and we just do random battles from Generation 1. The fun is you don't know what you're going to face, you don't know what your team's going to be, you don't know what your opponent's team's going to be, and you kind of just got to figure it out as you go. I like that because I'm not a super competitive battler by any means. I don't play competitively. So, I'm not a team builder. I don't do EVs and IVs and all that. So this is just a fun way of having pre-made teams and just battling without all the extra work that goes into it. So yeah, that's a pretty fun and pretty easy concept. This is, I believe, the sixth episode thus far, and this one was a good one. We had two battles. Unfortunately, someone did leave, but oddly enough, it wasn't in the first battle this time around. But it's getting frustrating. People always leave for Gen 1. Oh well, what can you do? Either way, if you're new to the channel and you like the content that you're about to see, go ahead and subscribe. We're on our way to 25 to 30 subscribers. If you also enjoy the video, be sure to leave a comment down below. It can be about anything. It can be about strategy. It can be about a Pokemon you see in the video, something I say. Whatever. Just want to talk. That's cool too. Hit a thumbs up, and if you don't already, follow me on Twitter at HumanShield1991. It's a good way to stay up to date on everything happening on the channel and the future plans. But beyond that, that should just about wrap it all up. We also have a Pokemon Blue Nuzlocke going down, so if you haven't started watching that, I definitely advise you do so. And we'll have a new episode of that coming up in the coming days as well. Alright, let's get going. So we started the battle off, and got a Squirtle on one side and a Machoke on the other. Now, in my head, this was a lot more uneven than it should have been. Or actually, it was more uneven, but the opposite way. For some reason, Squirtle, pretty tanky compared to a Machoke. I wasn't expecting that. Granted, my move wasn't Stab, but I still expected to do more damage than I did. Regardless, I sent out Starmie, but they read me like a book. Thankfully, I did Thunder Wave instead of the Thunderbolt, so I was able to slow down the Electro considerably. Then I got completely lucky. I thought they were going to do an electric move to Thunder Wave me, so I swapped out to Nidoking, and they went for the Toxic, so that actually worked out quite nicely. I went for the EQ, hoping that he'd stay in. He didn't, but thankfully I had a Thunder move to take out Squirtle, so that worked out pretty nicely. But then he sent out the big guy, the Heavy Cannon, Squirtle's Pappy, Blastoise. Went for an EQ, I switched out, but it still did way too much damage. I wanted to paralyze it, because for me, paralysis is the most important side effect, especially in Gen 1. Sleep can be very damaging because there's no limit in Gen 1, but paralysis, just the slowdown is huge for me. Anyway, I was able to read the switch again, and I sent out Nidoking. At this point, I was trying to decide if they were going to swap or not. They were, but I still went with EQ, and it did okay damage. Not great damage, but okay damage. I believe at this point is when I made the mistake. I went for a big move to try to hurt it, and he did the body. Oh, wait, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what happened. So I got confused there for a second. I had stayed in and did good damage, but then he hit the paralysis, and I should have left because there's no way I was outspeeding it, and I died. So that was kind of a dumb move on my part. And then I sent Starmie back out, hoping to finish the job. I do like Starmie. I think it's a very underrated Pokemon. I don't know what other people think about Starmie. Let me know what you think of Starmie in the comment section down below. Anyway, they hit me with a big Hydro Pump, and it does good damage. Surprisingly good damage. I'm going to make Thunder Wave this time, get the paralysis off, just in case. Unfortunately, the Body Slam got the paralysis on me too. Seemed to be a theme for this episode, but that's okay. I recovered to heal up, and thankfully they were paralyzed, and that was my shot to hopefully end things, but the Hydro Pump didn't do it. And then they got a crit Hydro Pump, so this wasn't working too well. We had a paralysis fest. We both were paralyzed with absolutely nothing to do. And then they get a big Hydro Pump. At this point, I wanted to recover, but I couldn't, and they took us out with a Body Slam. Unfortunate, but we're still in a decent spot. It's not over yet. I sent out Electrode, who definitely had a speed advantage, and I could take it out quite easily. And finally, Papa Blastoise is gone. Then came Tauros, which I wasn't really sure what to do with the Tauros in this gen. I wish I had Machoke still, that's for sure. I got the paralysis and it worked out pretty nicely. And then I decided to send Pidgey out, dodge the EQ. At that point, I wasn't sure what to actually do with Pidgey. I want to Reflect. I think in Gen 1, Reflect only works on the Pokemon who uses it, though. It doesn't do the whole team. I didn't realize that at first. Here's Machoke back out. And at this point, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I could take a hit or not. I was guessing I couldn't if they did Earthquake. So instead, I just went with Submission to try to do the big damage. They switched out to Porygon, which I thought was interesting because Porygon was weak to me already. Unfortunately, Submission did do some recoil damage, and then I missed the Body Slam. That really did not work in my favor. They popped off the Paralysis, and that was just a frustrating turn of events. Still, I was able to take Porygon out, but unfortunately, there's not much I can do now at this point for whatever comes out next. Again, Machoke, I wish I didn't use Machoke the way I did earlier, because he could have been more useful had he not been half dead. Thankfully, the submission did hit big damage, but it was also enough to knock me out. Now my team was definitely getting small, but Electrode is nice and quick, which works in my favor, and took Tauros out. They sent out their own Electrode, and we had a bit of a battle here. I decided to swap out to Mew. Simple. I was expecting a Thunder Wave or something. I just didn't want to do Thunder Shock versus Thunderbolt versus Thunderbolt, but they exploded instead, and I ate it up, so that worked out nicely. I was able to heal up. The Fire Blast did basically nothing to me, and then I was able to finish Weezing off with a big Psychic. So that was a pretty good fight. I'm not going to say I did amazing, but I did well enough to win, so hey, I'm happy with that. And then right after that was loading up and waiting for the next round. Now, I mentioned in my previous video for Pokemon Blue Randomized Nuzlocke and on Twitter, I've been under the weather lately, so I apologize if my voice sounds a little off. It's just, stuffed up and a whole mess of things, so I apologize in advance for that. And obviously, for those new to the channel, my mic isn't the best. That's because I do not have much financially, and I'm using an old janky laptop and some headphones. That's about it. This is DIY as it gets for now. Anyway, the new battle started, and they kind of started off with a bang with a Scyther, and I didn't really know what to do with it. I was looking at my team. The bug flying makes it kind of difficult to find something good, but they ended up swapping out anyway, which I did not expect. They had missed the glare, which worked out perfectly, and I could have swapped, but I stayed in, and this go around they got the glare. It's not a huge deal to me because Snorlax isn't going to outspeed much anyway, as long as I'm not unable to move. As long as I can do something, I'm happy. Unfortunately, they sent out the champ, and this was not a good fight for me, so I had to look around and decide who to swap to. I sent Oddish out because, to me, Oddish was the most easily sacrificial, but they actually ate that Body Slam up pretty well. I was impressed. Oddish would be a Pokemon I would not mind starting a Nuzlocke off with. Pretty underrated, pretty fun, and its moveset really lends itself to catching other Pokemon. Yeah, if it just has Absorb, there's not a ton you can do, but as it gets, Sleep Powder, Paralyze Powder, catching Pokemon would definitely be fun with it. Anyway, at this point, I was basically trying to survive the best I could. Paralysis was working in my favor, and I was trying to heal up with Mega Drain. But as you'll see in a second, it ultimately didn't fall off. Hit another Mega Drain, hoping that they would get paralyzed again. It didn't work. They got the Body Slam. I went for it one more time. Got pretty decent damage, healed up a little more, but they did the EQ and knocked me out. Now, I did notice they were starting to move kind of slowly to go, so I had to put up the timer. I don't like to do that, but especially when I'm recording, it's just some people strategize for so long. It just takes. It's not necessarily video friendly with how long it would take. And I could edit it and chop it up, but I don't know, that feels inauthentic to me. We were back to the very start of the game. This is exactly how the battle began. Thankfully, the Sleep Powder worked, but I knew I had to act fast because of the Sword Stance. But unfortunately, I had no idea what I wanted to do. They ended up swapping out just as we swapped out and ran into a psychic versus psychic battle. My first instinct was to paralyze, which is often the strategy I'm using, and they had the same one. So that was interesting to see. From there, it was just me kind of debating and figuring out what I want to do. While I had the advantage right now, I didn't have a super strong advantage either. I didn't know what to do with the Pokemon they had. I wasn't sure where to go with it. I was swapping out, and I'm not sure what my plan was here, because I was going to swap out to a poison type, and I'm not sure why. But I ended up switching to Kingler, which was a good decision on my part. I didn't figure it could do too much to me, so my instinct was to set up. And then they started a Cloyster. I don't know if it was just to eat a water move or something. I don't know if they were trying to predict a water move, so they just wanted to eat it up, but no, I wasn't having that. With a little bit of setup, main thing I wanted to do, I was hoping to sweep. The body slam worked out quite well because I got the paralysis, and at that point I decided just to keep, swords dancing because I would need it, especially against that Scyther. Now that I was in a good spot, I used the Hyper Beam, and again in Gen 1, it's not necessarily a glitch, but if you use the Hyper Beam and you knock out the Pokemon, you don't have to recharge. So that was that. They left the battle. I hate when people leave, but I guess they could see the sweep coming and they just didn't want to put up with it any longer. I don't know. Not my strategy, not my thing. I think it's kind of lame. I've always thought that even if I was playing games like Gears of War, Call of Duty, people losing, so they just leave. It's like, come on, dude. That's no fun. I also get that, hey, if you're going to lose, maybe they're competitive and they just get mad, but I don't know. You can do better than that. Regardless, that's the episode. We had 2 matches and we won both. First one was pretty good. I had fun with it. The second one was, I really don't know what would happen if I didn't get to set up, because that Scyther was going to be trouble. But hey, in the end, I was able to set up. They bailed. It worked out pretty nicely. I definitely can't complain about that because, hey, a win's a win at that point. Still, I would have liked the battle to finish, but what can you do? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, be sure to hit thumbs up. Be sure to leave a comment and let me know about what you thought of the video, about what you thought of my strategy, what you thought of their strategy, anything. Pokemon in it, the teams. I definitely would love to hear people's thoughts on just Pokemon in general. It's just fun to talk about. It doesn't even have to be about directly, the strategy itself. If you see Squirtle and you like Squirtle, tell me you like Squirtle. Tell me why you like Squirtle. That works for me. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, be sure to do so. We're on our way to 30 subscribers. Right now we're at 24. I have a mini goal of 25 and then 30. So let's see if we can hit that. Lastly, if you don't already, follow me on Twitter at HumanShield1991. It's a good way to stay up to date on everything happening on the channel and for future plans. And again, it's just a good way to talk. So other than that, I think that should wrap things up. Thanks for watching and have a good one.